it is a requisite that they have to engage their imagination and think, and kind of also with a sense of invention. It's like, it's not as if anyone is sitting there with a full, moment by moment history of Scotland. They don't have the kind of landscape view of the whole thing. They can't have that. Life's busy, and so they kind of have this kind of feeling that is fictional, that by its very definition is fictional, and that's identity.
It's just a myth, right? It's this myth.
It's a myth. That's it. There's Anne Louncher in Stornoway. It's a kind of art gallery, a kind of creative centre for Lewis. But they have these kind of online archives of exhibitions that have been before, and it's available in both Gaelic and English. And every artwork is are in this kind of virtual environment where you're clicking through, and you click on a painting that's called something in English, but then it has the Gaelic for it, for the translation of that, and just how that is another way of seeing the picture. It's this kind of alternate way of reading the picture. I think it's just quite an interesting, and then it kind of taps into a lot of things that I've gone before about it kind of ways of seeing things and language and sight before one.
I never met him. I emailed him, I didn't get a reply, and then he died last year. But he was heavily he had a website, and there was I think it was Montrose. He was up in Montrose or something like that. But I think he was a bit notorious for being quite fiery and but he was almost talking about. You can see him on Facebook and on Bella Caledonia is some.
Oh, is that his?
No, but he's in the comments quite a lot. If you look at some of the articles about Gaelic, even until last year or the year before.
Wow.
He's saying people know how to revitalize a Gaelic community. It's just people were intentionally not doing it properly. He was all about building Gaelic communities, intentional communities. But again, it does border on the conspiracy side of things. It's actually there's really people meddling with these things. Or again, we're colonized by the sort of anglicized, education system is heavily colonial. Or what's the alternative thing? It's actually Gaelic is just not to a lot of people. It's just a French thing. It's probably always going to be a French thing. It's just someone described it to me as it's a language of dreamers.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a very nice way to put it. Because it's
I'm so glad I'm recording this. Yeah.
And maybe that you're an artist, I'm an anthropologist. We're weird people, right?
Yeah.
And again, okay. Now, a dream can become a reality, but what would it take, right? If you look at it'd be like a revolution, right? And then people are going to be killing. Shooting people in the name of Gaelic, what other sort of things would come up? Again, it's things like anti-Britishness, anti-Englishness. You know, that obviously is an undercurrent in Scottish culture. You know, we define ourselves in that way. Like, even if I don't feel like it, if I watch the football, I can feel it inside me. Like, I'm coded in
your belly.
You know, I'm coded in that way. Like,
Yeah, totally.
you talk with someone like, oh, how was the football? Scotland, they lost. Did England win? No, okay, that's fine.
That's fine.
You know what
doesn't
I mean?
matter.
That's something really, really deep. Or, you know, even, I remember I went to Samuel Ofsted and
Oh, okay.
I did the level 2, the short course, and there was a young boy. He's 11 years old. His like family was camping there, and he was doing it. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm from England," and the teacher's like, "Oh, we won't hold it against you." You know, she did. It just, you know, it wasn't a fuss or anything. But you know, it's just like it had to be commented on by her in some way. You know what I mean? Like to get it out there. She was saying it as a joke, but it's also like that says something. You know, it's like if again, I don't know what's going to happen. And maybe it's just a fringe thing that will. But if people wanted to have a bigger future, and especially in this idea of Scotland, right? Scotland somehow realizing its true sovereignty. You know, where will Gaelic lie in that? I don't know. Yeah.
It's oh my god! Like, I'm going to go visit these shakers in Massachusetts, and it's that same thing of like, you know, it's for them, they're rehearsing. They have this like this kind of mantra, this kind of like, you know, kind of worldview, which is we have to make the world as perfect as we can before we go to the perfect world above. You know, they build all their own furniture. They like, you know, they grow their own food. They sing their own songs that they write, and it's this very kind of insular, you know, it's all actually quite, you know, in state with all this kind of talk about kind of sustainability and things nowadays, you know, but there's 3 of them that are left that fully commit to this kind of lifestyle. Sorry, but
no, I mean, you said a lot of things there that were just.
Sorry, I know.
No.
It's a lot.
It's good. It's really good.
Yeah.
My brain is just like going in. So first of all, you said about like the conversation circles, and it's kind of like rehearsing.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was very interesting because already I always feel like I'm acting.
Yeah.
First of all, you're trying to speak in a different language, like in a sort of very limited way, right? You know, oh, Cymrahan, you know, no one fucking talks like that. If I was going to be like using my native language, which is I guess Scottish English or whatever, that, you know, you just talk. You don't need to be talking about the same boring shit again and again and again, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's this practice because it's the language use that is actually primary. So there's always masks. Like you never really know someone that you've met in a conversation circle. You can't really know who they are because you're not only they're sort of seeing their public, but there's a sort of language mask there as well. You know, you can't see them in comfortable.
This guy, and he starts to like, you know, like use these kind of increasingly more convoluted kind of like interpretations of niche corners of history to kind of justify a kind of like, you know, grander and slightly more terrifying future. And that's fascinating because how that is then met, and this is the same with conspiracy theory groups, how that is then this fantasy that is so kind of like, you know, it's a runaway train online, and then it's met with coffee and a cup of tea and the smell of the Wellgate Library and the parking and all this stuff. It's already, but it's honestly like it's just, it's a language of dreamers.